The animals that should not exist. Some Amazonian creatures seem almost designed by imagination. The hoatzin is one of them, a strange bird with a crest, a distinctive smell, and an unusual digestive system. Young hoatzins possess claws on their wings. The chicks can climb through vegetation and, when threatened, drop into water before climbing back to safety. It looks ancient, and in a way, it is. Its digestive system relies heavily on fermentation of leaves, something more commonly associated with mammals such as cows. The result is a bird that seems to have ignored the normal rules. Then there is the electric eel. Despite its name, it is not actually a true eel. It is a knifefish, and it can generate powerful electrical discharges. The electricity serves multiple purposes: hunting, defense, navigation, communication. In murky water, where vision is unreliable, electricity becomes another sense. The animal creates a field around its body. Disturbances reveal the presence of objects and living creatures. It is almost as if the fish carries its own radar system. But even the electric eel is not the strangest hunter in the river. The kangaroo has acquired a terrifying reputation. Stories claim it can enter human bodies through urine. Many of the most dramatic versions are exaggerated or poorly supported. Yet the fish itself is real. It is a small parasitic catfish that can enter the gill chambers of larger fish. The myth grew from a real animal and a real behavior. This happens frequently in the Amazon. A small observation becomes a story. The story becomes a legend. The legend becomes something people repeat as fact. The forest becomes famous for creatures that are half biology and half imagination. Another famous creature is the piranha. Hollywood has turned piranhas into aquatic monsters. Reality is more complicated. Some species are primarily herbivorous or omnivorous. Others are opportunistic predators. They possess sharp teeth and powerful jaws, but they are not constantly attacking anything that enters the water. In fact, piranhas themselves are part of the food web. They can become prey for caimans, river dolphins, large fish, and birds. Even the feared predator has predators. The Amazon does not create kings. It creates relationships. On land, the giant anteater moves slowly across grasslands and forest edges. Its long snout is specialized for finding ants and termites. It has no teeth. Instead, it uses a long sticky tongue to collect thousands of insects. Its claws are powerful enough for defense. Its body is covered in coarse hair. The creature looks almost prehistoric, but perhaps the most remarkable thing about it is its ecological role. By feeding heavily on ants and termites, it influences insect populations and moves nutrients through the ecosystem. Every creature leaves a footprint. Some footprints are obvious, others are invisible. The tapir is another major ecological engineer, often called the gardener of the forest. The lowland tapir consumes fruits and travels long distances. Seeds pass through its digestive system and may be deposited far from the parent tree. Large animals are especially important because they can transport larger seeds that smaller animals cannot swallow. If large mammals disappear, the forest may slowly lose some of its largest trees. The consequences can take decades to become visible. This is known as a trophic cascade. Remove one part of the system, and changes can travel outward. The Amazon is full of such invisible chains. One animal eats another. One animal spreads seeds. Another pollinates flowers. Another decomposes the remains. Another controls parasites. The forest is constantly balancing itself. And then there is the giant otter again. It may appear playful, but its social structure is sophisticated. Families communicate through vocalizations. They cooperate while hunting. They defend territories. They raise young together. The Amazon rewards cooperation because the environment itself is unpredictable. A river can rise. A fruiting tree can fail. A predator can appear. A drought can change the entire landscape. Survival often depends on flexibility. This may be why so many Amazonian species are specialists in one area and generalists in another. They need to know when to conserve energy, when to migrate, when to reproduce, when to hide, when to fight. The forest does not give second chances easily. A single mistake can become fatal, but evolution has had millions of years to refine these strategies. That is why the Amazon sometimes looks less like a natural landscape and more like an enormous collection of impossible inventions. Electrical fish, transparent frogs, flying mammals, venomous insects, camouflaged predators, trees that flood, flowers that trap insects, birds with claws on their wings, and animals that communicate through electricity, chemicals, color, sound, and touch. The strangest thing about the Amazon is not that these creatures exist, it is that they exist together, Fire, drought, and the edge of the forest, the Amazon, is powerful. But it is not invincible. The forest evolved with disturbance. Trees fall, rivers flood, storms tear branches apart, lightning can start fires. But modern changes can make those disturbances far more intense. When forests are cleared, the canopy disappears. The land becomes hotter. The soil dries faster. Grasses and shrubs grow where dense forest once stood. Then fire can spread more easily. In many parts of the Amazon, fire is used to clear vegetation. Sometimes it is controlled. Sometimes it escapes. During dry periods, the consequences can be devastating. Smoke can travel hundreds of kilometers. The sky becomes orange or gray. Animals flee. People suffer from polluted air. And carbon stored in trees is released into the atmosphere. But fire is only one pressure. Deforestation fragments the forest. Instead of one continuous ecosystem, the landscape becomes a collection of isolated islands. This creates what scientists call edge effects. Trees at the forest boundary experience more sunlight, wind, and dryness. Some species cannot tolerate those conditions. Predators may avoid narrow fragments. Other species may move in. The forest changes. A road can become more than a road. It can become a dividing line. And the consequences can spread far beyond the pavement. Yet the Amazon has an extraordinary ability to regenerate. If land is abandoned, grasses appear, then shrubs, then young trees, then larger trees. Over decades, a secondary forest can develop, but recovery is not always complete. The species composition may change, soil may be altered, large animals may not return. Some ecological relationships can take centuries to rebuild. This is why protecting mature forest is so important. A new forest is valuable, but an old forest contains accumulated history. A giant tree may have been growing before nearby roads existed. Its roots may connect with fungal networks. Its branches may support hundreds of organisms. Its fallen leaves feed the soil. Its fruits feed animals. Its trunk stores carbon. Its canopy moves water into the atmosphere. Destroying it removes far more than wood. And yet, in some regions, people are experimenting with ways to produce food while keeping more trees standing. Agroforestry combines crops with trees. Shade-grown cacao and coffee can provide habitat while producing income. Restoration projects reconnect fragmented forests. Protected areas create refuges. Indigenous territories can preserve enormous areas of forest. Technology is becoming another tool. Satellites can detect forest loss. Drones can monitor illegal activity. Acoustic sensors can record the sounds of birds and insects. Environmental DNA can reveal which species have passed through rivers or soil. The same technological revolution that allows humanity to damage landscapes faster can also help us understand them faster. But technology alone cannot solve the problem. The question is economic. Who benefits from the forest? Who pays for its protection? Who owns the land? Who controls the resources? Who decides what happens next? The Amazon contains valuable timber, minerals, agricultural land, fresh water, and biological resources. The pressure will not disappear simply because people understand ecology. That is why the future of the rainforest will depend on decisions made far beyond the trees. Consumers in distant cities can influence demand. Governments can create or remove protections. Companies can choose how they source materials. Communities can manage landscapes. Scientists can provide evidence. Indigenous peoples can defend territories. The Amazon is local and global at the same time. A tree falls in one country. The carbon enters the atmosphere. The smoke crosses borders. The rainfall pattern changes. The consequences travel. And that is why the forest's future is not only an Amazonian question. It is a planetary one. The forest's last secrets, even after centuries of exploration, the Amazon remains largely unknown. New species are still discovered. Some are tiny. Others are surprisingly large. A frog hidden beneath a leaf. A fish found in a remote tributary. An orchid growing high in the canopy. An insect that has never been scientifically described. Every expedition has the possibility of finding something new. But discovery is not always about finding an unknown species. Sometimes it means realizing that something we thought we understood is more complicated than expected. Scientists are learning that trees communicate through chemical signals. They are studying fungal networks connecting roots. They are examining how animals influence forest regeneration. They are using satellites to reconstruct ancient landscapes. And they are searching for archaeological sites beneath vegetation. The forest is revealing its past layer by layer. One of the most fascinating discoveries concerns ancient human influence. Researchers once assumed that large areas of the Amazon were untouched wilderness. Today we know that humans changed many landscapes. They transported plants. They managed forests. They burned small areas. They enriched soil. They created settlements. But this does not mean that the entire rainforest was a giant artificial garden. The truth is more interesting. Some areas were heavily modified. Others remained relatively wild. Different societies interacted with the environment in different ways. The Amazon was a mosaic, and perhaps that is why simplistic stories fail. The forest is neither an untouched paradise nor a completely human-made landscape. It is both natural and cultural, ancient and modern, fragile and resilient. Another mystery lies beneath the rivers. The Amazon basin contains an enormous diversity of fish. Some species migrate hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. They travel between feeding grounds, breeding areas, and floodplain forests. Their movements connect distant ecosystems. A fish born near one part of the river may eventually carry nutrients and genetic information far downstream. The river is a highway, but unlike a road, it changes every year. Channels move, banks collapse, islands appear, lakes form, forests drown, then the water retreats. The landscape is constantly being rewritten. Some rivers even change their courses over geological time. Millions of years ago, the Amazon system was dramatically different. The Andes were still developing. Ancient waterways flowed in different directions. Large portions of the basin were covered by lakes and wetlands. The modern Amazon is the result of geological forces acting over immense periods of time. The forest we see today is only one chapter, and perhaps one day it will look completely different. Climate changes, rivers move, species evolve, mountains rise, forests expand and retreat. Nothing is permanent. Even the giant trees will eventually fall. When they do, the opening in the canopy becomes an opportunity. Sunlight reaches the forest floor. Seeds germinate, vines climb, insects arrive, birds investigate. A fallen tree becomes a new ecosystem. Death is not the opposite of life here. It is part of the machinery that creates it. The trunk begins to decay. Fungi invade, termites arrive, beetles follow. The nutrients return to the soil. New roots absorb them. A seedling grows. Years pass, decades. Eventually another giant tree rises. The cycle closes. There are legends that the deepest parts of the Amazon contain hidden cities filled with gold. Explorers once searched for mythical kingdoms such as El Dorado. They found no golden empire matching the legends, but in an unexpected way, they found something more valuable. A landscape containing enormous biodiversity and evidence of sophisticated ancient societies. The treasure was never a city of gold. It was the forest itself. And even today, the greatest discoveries may not involve precious metals. They may involve medicines, new ecological techniques, unknown species, climate information, ancient agricultural knowledge, or simply a better understanding of how life can organize itself. Every expedition carries the same possibility. The next river bend may contain something science has never seen. The next tree may host an unknown insect. The next archaeological skin may reveal another ancient settlement. The next sample of soil may contain clues to a forgotten civilization. The Amazon keeps its secrets well, but it is slowly opening the door. The Amazon will remember as the sun sets, the forest changes color. Gold becomes orange. Orange becomes red. Then darkness spreads across the canopy. The rivers reflect the final light. Birds disappear into roosts. Monkeys settle into branches. Bats emerge. The night begins again. For millions of years, this cycle has repeated. Rain falls. Trees grow. Animals feed. Rivers rise. Rivers retreat. Life dies. New life begins. The Amazon has survived enormous changes. Mountains rose. Rivers changed direction. Ice ages came and went. Species disappeared. New species evolved. Humans arrived. Civilizations rose. Civilizations disappeared. The forest remained. But the modern world has introduced a new kind of pressure. The speed of change is different. A forest can take centuries to mature. A road can cross it in months. A giant tree can grow for generations. A chainsaw can bring it down in minutes. A species can evolve over thousands or millions of years. A population can disappear within decades. This difference in timescale is one of the greatest challenges facing the Amazon. Nature operates slowly. Human decisions can happen incredibly fast. Yet the story is not only one of destruction. There are forests that have recovered, animals that have returned, rivers where fish populations have increased after protection, Communities that have created successful conservation systems. Land that was once cleared and is now becoming forest again. The Amazon is resilient, but resilience should not be mistaken for invulnerability. A forest can return, but it may not return exactly as it was. A species lost cannot simply be brought back by planting trees. An ancient ecological relationship can disappear forever. That is why the most important question is not whether humans can save the Amazon. The more useful question is whether humans can learn to live within its limits. Because the Amazon does not need humanity to survive. It existed long before us. It will probably exist in some form long after us. The question is what kind of Amazon will remain? A fragmented forest, a damaged ecosystem, or a connected living world capable of supporting millions of people, and an extraordinary diversity of life? The answer is still being written, and the forest is watching. In the morning, water will rise from the soil again. Leaves will release moisture into the atmosphere. Clouds will gather above the canopy. Rain will fall somewhere else. A river will carry sediment toward the Atlantic. A tapir will swallow fruit and carry seeds through the forest. A toucan will move from branch to branch. A jaguar will cross a muddy trail. A harpy eagle will rise above the trees. An army of leafcutter ants will continue its endless work beneath the ground. A tiny frog will call from a leaf. A fish will surface for air. And somewhere in the darkness, an animal that science has never seen may move beneath the leaves. The Amazon is not silent. It is speaking constantly, through rain, through thunder, through wings, through roots, through rivers, through the calls of animals, through the stories of people who have lived with the forest for generations. Perhaps the greatest mistake is to think of the Amazon as a place that belongs to us. It does not. We belong to a world that includes it. Every breath we take is part of a larger system. Every cloud carries water that once passed through forests. Every river carries mountains toward the sea. Every seed carries a possibility. Every fallen tree becomes food for something else. The Amazon teaches a lesson that is easy to forget in cities. Life does not survive alone. It survives through relationships. And the rainforest is perhaps Earth's greatest demonstration of that principle. One tree is vulnerable. A forest is powerful. One animal can disappear. A healthy ecosystem can adapt. One river can be polluted. An entire basin can suffer. The strength of the Amazon has never been in a single species. Its strength is in the connections between millions of species. That is why its future matters. Not because it is beautiful. Not because it is exotic. Not because it looks impressive from space. But because it is one of the largest living networks on Earth. And networks can be damaged one connection at a time. They can also be protected one connection at a time. A protected river. A restored forest. A conserved species. A community defending its territory. A scientist discovering something new. A farmer choosing a different method. A government enforcing a law. A consumer making a different choice. Small actions can become part of a larger system. Just as a single seed can become a tree. And a tree can become a forest. The final light disappears. The Amazon becomes black beneath the stars. For a moment, there is no visible horizon. Only darkness. Then the sound begins. A frog. Another answers. An owl calls somewhere beyond the river. The wind moves through the canopy. Water flows endlessly toward the sea. The forest breathes, not like a single animal, not like a machine, but like an immense community of life. Ancient, changing, unpredictable, still here, and tomorrow morning, it will begin again. The Amazon will wake. The river will move. The trees will reach for sunlight. And the oldest wilderness of the tropics will continue writing its story. A story that began long before us. And one that, if we are wise enough, will continue long after we are gone. This is the Amazon, not simply a rainforest, not simply a river basin, but one of the greatest living systems on Earth. And its story is far from over.